What are all those people waiting for in the rain in Shanghai, China? Well, they're waiting for government permission in order to get the ability to travel on a train. Since, top-down, centralized, all-knowing governments are all so efficient, said no historian ever. Welcome back, beautiful and amazing human beings. This is Luke Radowski here of WeAreChange.org. And the problems in China are just one of the many things to worry about globally, as of course there's a dark winter approaching towards Europe. It is unavoidable, it is here, and it is going to have some vast, significant impacts on your life and the life of your loved ones. This as Russia right now is burning off millions of dollars in gas every single day. Why are they doing this? As well as all the latest local news we're going to be getting into in this independent media broadcast. But before you do, if you like the awesome, amazing t-shirt that just arrived on thebestpoliticalshirts.com, you can get it on that website, which is linked down in the description below. And the video that we played in the beginning of this broadcast looks like it came from Chinese TikTok, which is a totally different TikTok than, of course, the version and the algorithm that is played to the American youth of this country that has a very bad negative effect on them. But this QR queuing system is obviously a system that is not really effective, as we've just seen, and it literally requires people to wear masks at all time, to take tests almost every single day, to take part in intrusive medical procedures that people don't want to take, all just to have the ability to be able to get on a public train. But hey, they're white stormtroopers that take you out in the middle of the night and put you in government camps, at least, are doing dance routines. Those are mandatory too. You don't do them, go to jail as well. Off to the camps with you peasants. Your left foot, right foot routine wasn't good enough. And a lot of people might say that this is just, a dystopian Orwellian future that is very far away from us. And it's not. We came very close to instituting very similar policies like the Chinese government did. And it's important to also recognize that we are slowly moving towards a total track, trace, and database totalitarian top-down society where government agencies have godlike power and authority over everyone. This, as CNN is 15 years late, as of course we've been reporting for you this exact situation since the mid-2000s. But now, CNN just released an article talking about how wireless carriers can keep your data where you have been for years and provide it to the police whenever they want to. They do this routinely, yes. Not a surprise. The Biden administration is still absolutely Orwellian when it comes to their health policies that they're still instituting here in the United States that they can't even explain. White House spokesperson Jean-Pierre was questioned why people entering the United States legally need to still jump through hoops, invasive health procedures that there's a lot of conflicting scientific data on, when of course people could just walk into this country illegally and not have to do any of that and then get free healthcare, free cell phones, transportations, housing, and food in many instances. The White House clearly says, no, that's not happening. When it is. And as the White House changes definitions of words, raids their political opponents with FBI agents, arrests many of their political opposition, they're the ones, for some reason, coming out and saying that the other side that's being heavily prosecuted, that's being thrown in jail, that's being thrown in court, that is being attacked with the coordinated talking points of the majority of the corporate media, that they are the ones that are the problem since they are the, quote, semi-fascists, as the current president of the United States just called Republican. A very hyperbolic, sensationalistic statement that, of course, escalates tensions between the left and the right, a part of the larger divide and conquer agenda, but I think it's fair to say that there is absolutely a systemic disadvantage to the Republican side. This, as we're even finding out that they can't even get their apps approved by the Google Play Store. This, as the former president's new social media platform, Truth Social, is still on hold in the Google Play Store, as we're also finding out today that the former president of the United States bragged about the naughty private life of Emmanuel Macron, the French president, who of course is a former Rothschild banker. Now, who cares about what Macron is doing here in private? It doesn't matter, but this is the topic of conversation here in the United States, as we could only hope that our society doesn't degrade into utter chaos like we're seeing in Baghdad, Iraq, where sectarian violence between the Sunnis and the Shiites has just reached a level that is endangering the stability of that entire country. As of course, the U.S. invasion of Iraq has allowed Iran to have a larger sphere of influence in the region. There's a lot of different religious sectarian beliefs, systems, and groups, and they're all vying for a representation. They're all vying for power. A lot of this is being met with violence on the streets that even threatens the U.S. Embassy and has already killed dozens of individuals. We could also hope that the situation doesn't escalate to the one currently happening in Ukraine, where there is now a new offensive launched by the Ukrainians in the southern part of that country, which of course Western outlets are saying could possibly even allow Ukraine to retake back Crimea. Is that possible? Will that happen? That's a very optimistic point of view here. And we have to understand when we're looking at reports and news from Ukraine, you're seeing a lot of propaganda that always should be questioned no matter what. And as here, we tell you to question almost everything, to do your own homework, do your own research, to look at both sides of the story. The Department of Homeland Security today is coming out with the opposite message, as they just released a cartoon on Facebook telling people to report their loved ones, their family members, for, quote, disinformation. Yes, this video is absolutely bewildering. It's absolutely crazy. We're going to be playing it and talking about it on LukeUncensored.com later on today, our own platform. And we're going to have a larger conversation about John McAfee and if he is still alive. That conversation, as well as a new documentary, my review of it, will all be available on LukeUncensored.com in a new video right after this one. Just click the link down in the description below, sign up. It's very easy, very simple, and then of course become a member and you get access to our exclusive forum, which has a lot of amazing members. We have a t-shirt store that is secret. Well, not so secret, but you could only get merchandise at a very reduced cost if you're a member, and 3 masterclasses. We're going to be expanding, building more masterclasses. Lots of really interesting, fun things happening on LukeUncensored.com. The video I did yesterday was very personal, very eye-opening, and hopefully will prevent a lot of people from making the mistakes that I made. That video, plus a lot more, almost every single day, LukeUncensored.com. If you haven't signed up yet, what are you waiting for? Now, jumping into our main topic, and that, of course, is the dark winter in Europe, which we have to understand is not an accident. We didn't coincidentally just happen to approach a dark winter. What's happening in Europe, what's happening with the inflation is all related to the larger deliberate destruction of the old world order in order to, of course, bringing a new one. This is why inflation surging to 7.9% in Germany in August is not something that happens out of the spur of a moment, but happens because of some very important decisions that the German government has been making years up to this particular decision. For some crazy reason, Germany decided to shoot itself in the foot and stop producing energy because somewhere, somehow, something, including a little girl called Greta Thunberg, convinced them that them producing energy for themselves was not good for everyone else, but them importing energy was good. Then they had the brilliant idea of sanctioning and attacking the country that they were getting the energy from. And now we're in a situation where, of course, with the price of energy going up, the price of everything else goes up. And this is one part why we have inflation. That, of course, is only going to rob and hurt the poorest people in European society. The people who are impoverished already are going to be more impoverished. The people in the middle class, they're going to become the new impoverished class, while the billionaires, the oligarchs, the politicians, the corporatists, a lot of them are going to have a lot of opportunities to buy up stuff on the cheap. Because of this, as a local coffee shop in Ireland that is proudly supporting Ukraine just released a photo of what is their electric bill, attuning to nearly $10,000. Yes, a $10,000 bill for a small coffee shop in Ireland. And this is just the beginning of many price increases that are only starting to go up and will go up even further during the winter, where energy demands and needs will be increased. Now, the European Union is talking about intervening in this crisis, capping the price of gas, just like other countries, Venezuela and Zimbabwe and many other failed countries have tried to do before in history. Will their plans work? Well, it hasn't really worked ever before in recorded human history. The government can't just say, hey, we're not going to be paying more for gas, and that's just not how it works. Someone somewhere is always going to have to pay for anything, especially if the government claims that it's going going to be free or it's going to be for the benefit of the people, when in reality the people are usually the ones footing the bill. Even CNN is admitting that the last 2 years, a part of the health crisis, was, quote, bad for British pubs, but the current energy crisis could be worse for them, and absolutely. As of course, many small businesses will not be able to open, mainly because they won't be able to pay for electricity and heat this winter. And if you think that's bad, imagine what average households would have to go through when, of course, there's going to be less businesses, less jobs available for them, less work available to them, as their bills keep increasing every single day. This, as a lot of geopolitical experts are highlighting how this gas shortage in Europe, which was deliberately brought on by Europe, is going to, quote, last several years. And yeah, that's exactly what's going to be happening. Also, right now, to fully charge a Tesla in France, it would cost you about $100. This, as of course, Europe, along with many other Western countries, have been pushing for the adoption of electric cars, which now in many instances would be more expensive than actually having a gas car. Time magazine released a very important story talking about how Europeans' energy crisis is going to get worse and the world will bear the cost of this, and yes, that's absolutely true. And while Europe is heading into the dark ages, going into a dark winter, Russia is literally burning millions of dollars of gas every single day. Now, it's important to understand here that Europe has decided to snub their nose against Russia because of the larger proxy conflict happening between them, the United States, in Ukraine. The United States and many European countries have decided that they won't be buying any energy from Russia, which, of course, they were previously dependent on. And whether it's the push for unreliable green energy or foreign policy strife, this is happening here. Now, of course, some people might jump to the conclusion that Russia is just showing off here, that they're just being mean here. But in reality, when it comes to producing natural gas, this is related to a pressure issue, and mainly because of Europe getting less gas, there's a lot more of it to go around, especially when it comes to the production of it, and to not create more pressure and to not jeopardize the infrastructure that creates the gas, that pumps out the gas. Russia is forced to burn it off because it has no other choice, as of course storage is not an option for them. Again, this natural gas could be going to Europe, but it's not, because politicians can't get along with each other, and they are literally creating a situation that will impoverish the poorest people of this world and will bring more middle-class people into that poverty, creating a serf slave class that's going to be very hard to recover from. Now, I don't care what your situation or your personal stance is on the Ukrainian conflict. I don't care where you stand. I don't care who you want to win or don't want to win. It doesn't matter here, as we have to understand that there are going to be larger consequences for these political aspirations. And to me, we're living in a mad world when politicians are willing to sacrifice their children, their people, for their own aspirations of power and influence. The state has created a large number of problems. The politicians that created wars never fight them. Their children are seen partying, while, of course, the poorest people in our society are left screwed. And I don't care if you're a poor person in Russia or in Ukraine or in Europe, you're going to have to pay the price, because some adults can't come together and figure out their differences, can't come to the table, can't negotiate, can't bring forward a peace deal, as they would rather smash things rather than talk them out like mature adults. That's my perspective from a geopolitical perspective. Also, I think a lot of this is being done deliberately in order to push on the Great Reset, in order to set up a, quote, New World Order, where, of course, with an energy crisis in Europe, this will lead to, of course, the banning of cars, energy rationing, digital identification systems, personal CO2 scores, which will be the new social credit scores, the elimination of private ownership, and the destruction of sovereign, free human life, all for the subjugation of the billionaire corporate banking class, just like we've seen in many instances in the current Chinese society that people have to brutally go through. That's my perspective. That's my opinion. That's where I'm just coming from. If you thought I was right, share this video with your friends and family members. If you thought I was wrong, debate me, talk to me, share with me information that might change my mind, and I might. Again, the views and opinions that I hold are mine, and they can only change with the abundance of information and evidence that suggest otherwise. And I'm totally open to that. One more video coming your way on lukeuncensored.com. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you, and this is why. I love you guys. Stay tuned for more here on wearechange.org.